Hi, this is Anne, or Anne as they say in Dutch, and I'm here with two boxes and day 3 of my advent calendar project. I have a chocolate in this smaller box, and in this bigger box I have a tool, a tip, or an insight for today. So I am gonna open the box and I'm gonna pull out the little piece of paper, and the paper says self-appreciation. Now, I can share a gazillion things about self-appreciation, and it's a topic that comes up in every workshop that I teach and every coaching conversation that I have, because it's so foundational to creating a genuine sense of self-confidence. Now, it's something that is not rocket science. Appreciating ourselves is not rocket science. It's very simple and straightforward, yet applying it is where the challenge is. If this paper would say self-criticizing or self-criticism, my guess is that you would be like, yeah, I got that. If I would ask you right now to make a list of 10 items, 10 things that you criticized yourself for today, my guess is that it would be very easy to make a list of 10 items. And I might even have to stop you saying like, oh, okay, we have 10 items. You can stop now. There's no need to add more items. Now, if I would ask you to make a list of 10 items, that 10 things that you genuinely can appreciate yourself for today, or that you did appreciate yourself for today, my guess is that that would be way harder, and that you would really have to think hard, and that you might even struggle to come up with a list of 10 things. And it's not because there would not be things that you can appreciate yourself for, it's just because our brain is not in the habit of doing so. It will not notice all the things that you can appreciate yourself for, it will not point them out to yourself, and it will not appreciate them either. And so that's why creating this habit of self-appreciation is super important, and also requires a little bit of effort, intentional effort that we got to put in to help our brain to create that habit of self-appreciation. Now, what is self-appreciation all about then? It's pretty simple. It is looking back at your day, or looking back at something that happened today, and then identify 1, 2, 3 things. I would not go more than that in the beginning. 1, 2, or 3 things that you genuinely want to appreciate yourself for today. So let's say that one of the things that happened for me today is a meeting. And I can say like, hey, I want to appreciate myself for voicing my opinion in that meeting. And that would be something very specific that I point out, and that I appreciate myself for, something that I did today. And that is a key element of the self-appreciation. It always is something that we did, not something that happened to us, not a result that we achieved, not a compliment that we got, something that we did, an action. So I love that I voiced my opinion in that meeting. The action is I voiced my opinion, and that's what I want to appreciate myself for. Not whether everybody agreed or nobody agreed, that's irrelevant. I just want to appreciate myself for voicing my opinion in that meeting. And I can even say like, hey, I want to appreciate myself for voicing my opinion in that meeting, even though I had a bit of sweaty palms, and even though my voice was shaky. So it doesn't even need to be perfect, the perfect way to voice my opinion. It's just me taking the act of voicing my opinion that we can appreciate ourselves for. So that's an example of something that I did that is very small and specific. And that's what I would encourage you to do as well. Go very small, very specific, and make sure that it's something that you did. That is key. Something that you did, not a result, not a compliment, not something that happened to you. Something that you did. Something small and specific. And the more specific you can be, the better. So you can use the sentences in order to appreciate yourself, like, I love how I did something small and specific. I want to appreciate myself for doing something small and specific. I want to acknowledge myself for doing something small and specific, even though, and then a little challenge, just like the way I did in my example of the sweaty palms when I voiced my opinion. So that is what self-appreciation is all about. And the more that we do that, the more that we will help our brain to notice all these instances and all the things that we can appreciate ourselves for, and the easier it will be to make the list. And if you would do this, and practice this over and over again, if we would see each other again in 3 months' time, and then I would ask you to make the list of 10 items that you genuinely appreciated yourself for today, then you could easily come up with a list of 10 items. And on top of that, if I would then ask yourself, like, how is your general sense of self-confidence? Then chances are super high that you would say, like, actually, I notice that I feel more confident in myself, because having this layer, this habit of self-appreciation, this habit of validating ourselves, unhooked from external validation or results, it's really validating and valuing ourselves, appreciating ourselves. The more that we have that habit and have that solid foundation, and we create this solid layer of self-appreciation, self-value and self-validation, the more that we do that, the more self-confidence we will be creating. Self-appreciation, self-valuing is one of the key elements, one of the 5 key building blocks of what I call the house of self-confidence. And it's really like a fundamental element. Something that, as I said, is not rocket science. You could hear it in the way that I explained it. Hopefully, it didn't sound like rocket science. It's something very simple, like just finding something or pointing out, noticing something that is super small, super specific, something that you did, not a result, not something that happened to you, not a compliment, something that you did, and then saying like, hey, I love that I did, or I love how I did something super small and super specific, or I want to acknowledge myself for doing something small and super specific. So it's not rocket science, it's something super simple. It's rather that it requires this intentional effort, not a big effort either, but just like a super small effort every time that we do this, simply because our brain is not in the habit of doing this. And our brain will always default to the habit of self-criticizing, and it requires then this super small little effort to just find 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 things that we want to appreciate ourselves for. So I would encourage you to do this right now as you're watching this video. Just take 1 little thing that you genuinely want to appreciate yourself for today. Something small, something specific, something unhooked from external validation, compliments, results, really something that you did. If you found something and you are open to share it, you can always send me a message or leave a comment with the thing that you appreciate yourself for today. And you do 1 today, 1 tomorrow, 1 the next day, maybe 2 the day after that. And as you keep playing with this, and as you keep doing this in a loosely consistent way, the more you get the hang of it, and the more your brain will have an easy time to notice all these things, and the more that will fuel your sense of self-confidence as well. So that's what I wanted to share about self-appreciation. I could keep talking about this, but I'm gonna stop myself here. I'm gonna put the paper back in the box, and I'm gonna direct my attention to the other box that I have here. So I'm gonna open this one. There is some background noise. I have my 2 sweet dear Charlie and Dexter here, my 2 cats, and they have a moment of high energy right now, and they are running in the living room from left to right and back again. So you can hear some noise as they do so. In the meantime, I opened this box, the box with the chocolate. It's a chocolate that I put in here myself, but randomly a couple of days ago, and I do not know what each chocolate is gonna taste like. And it's a beautiful chocolate as per usual. Now I need to do it like that. You can see it, it's a beautiful orangey color. It's right here. Yes, no. This is something that I could practice. It's always a fun challenge to make sure that the chocolate is sharp and not blurred out. So I'm gonna taste it now. I've got no idea what this is gonna taste like, so I'm gonna take a little bite. I have the same feeling as yesterday. Yesterday I had a taste that I recognized, but I could not pinpoint it. Today, same thing going on. Can you see it? It's a completely different taste from yesterday. Also on the tip of my tongue. I cannot pinpoint it. It makes me think of candies. Is it like, oh, candy. I for sure tasted it before, but you know the drill by now. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna share the name of the chocolate as well as the key ingredients. It's something that is familiar and it makes me think of candy. That's the word that pops up. Now, candy is not a specific taste. Candy can have multiple different tastes. But it makes me think of something candy-ish that I tasted. I'm not that big of a fan of candy. I love chocolate, but gummy bears and all that kind of stuff, it's not my thing. But it's familiar, like it makes me think of my childhood for some reason. So it might be, and then I ate some candy more often than now. Now it's rather exceptional that I eat candy, but it really makes me think of my childhood. So it might be something that I recognize from there. So I am gonna look it up and probably I'm gonna be like, ah, that was it. I just could not pinpoint it in the moment. So no worries, I'm gonna share it here so that you know the name of the chocolate and the key ingredients. And yeah, I would invite you, appreciate yourself right now, right this moment, for something super small, something super small, something super specific that you did today. Just one thing right here, right now. And if you are up for it, you can leave it in the comment. That's not what the most important. The comment is not the most important. The most important is that you do it. And then you repeat it. You do the same thing again tomorrow, the next day, etc. And the more that you do it, the more that you will start appreciating yourself. Not to override all the self-criticizing or the self-criticism, not to erase that. We can just let that be. It's just to counterbalance it and to broaden our perspective and have a more fair and honest view, actually, not just the self-criticizing points, but also the self-appreciation and having this more balanced view going on. So that's what I wanted to share today. We did the tip and the tool, we had the chocolate, and I'm seeing you tomorrow for day 4 of my Advent Calendar project. See you.